Press Start Podcast.
And welcome back to the Press Start Podcast. I'm your host, Vic, aka Mr. Never Chill. This is episode number 145. This week I am joined by my co host, Scott, aka Scobie1.
What is up, everybody? How are we doing today?
Go Steelers. And on the other side, we got Roger, aka Lunatic Oblivion. What's up, my friend?
Nothing much. Just playing a lot of card games.
Yeah. Which one have you been playing a lot lately?
Weirdly enough, both virtual and in real life, picked up a new actual physical card game called Grand Archive. Then I've got MTG playing both virtual and physical. And then I've also picked up Inscription this week, hit Game Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I was excited to play it, and then it got, very ARG on me, and I was not prepared.
Right. Talk
Yeah.
about the experience with Inscription. I'm gonna try and get some gameplay up here on screen. For
Yeah,
everybody.
sure. So Inscription is it kind of followed that model of augmented reality gameplay where, it's an ARG. So things that happen there are things outside the game that you can do that influence inside the game. So without any spoilers, since maybe people haven't bought it, but now it just hit Game Pass, so there's probably an influx of new players or people who want to play it. The game isn't as simple as it makes itself out to be. It's very Saw-like in the sense that you're trapped. You're trapped inside a room with some villain who makes you play a game. Literally says, you ready to play a game? And you're like, no. And he's like, too bad. So the whole concept is to play a roguelike card game where you're trying to survive and beat these bosses as you play. So I don't want to give away too much detail, but the game is an ARG. So knowing that going into it, there are things that will happen in the game that will point you to things outside of the game that you need to do, or they'll break the fourth wall. And, it's pretty fucking cool.
Dope.
It sounds interesting. Sounds super interesting.
Yeah, I remember when it was when it first came out. It was like in talks for like indie game of the year and stuff like that. It was pretty big at the time, but it's awesome to see that it finally hit Game Pass. But let's go ahead and talk about
I just
another.
don't want to spoil it.
Right? Yeah, there's
so
just so much going on in it.
It's so good, and it's from 2021, so like it's 3 years old, but it just hit Game Pass. So like,
yeah,
you just
if you missed it, now's your chance.
Picking that up.
But Roger, let's talk about Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. Obviously, we played a little bit more since the 2 Sundays ago since you were on the podcast, and man, this game just keeps getting better and better and better and better every single day.
I love it, man. It's so good.
I feel like a crackhead sometimes. I'm like, oh, I need more of it.
I need more of that fucking Space Marine. I was like, hey man, what you doing after the podcast? Because I need some more of that Space Marine fix. It's such a good game. It really is, and I ended up playing the PvP this past session. When you left, we kept playing and we went into PvP. I got curb stomped.
Like, I believe it. Yeah. Does it play similar to like how Gears plays? Gears multiplayer?
I wish.
Yeah.
I wish.
Yeah. I might have to give it a go one of these days. Because the only thing we've been playing is through the main story missions, and then we played one of the operations. But we gotta play through a couple of the operations the next time we do play, though.
Yeah, we've got 4 of them to play through now. It's so good. It just genuinely is such a well-designed game. Like, I am just blown away with how good it truly is.
Yes, that definitely been a great time. All right, Scott, let's talk about one of your games here. Looks like you started to play a little bit more Baldur's Gate 3. Was this like a one-time session, or what are you doing now?
No, so I'm doing a Gloomstalker Ranger. This time I'm between that and my Lightning Sorcerer, Stormy Daniel, as you might remember from one of the other from one of the other episodes. One of these at this point, one of these two, like it's such a different play style each time, and with the new updates that happened, the patch 7 updates, there's a lot of things that had changed, and I wanted to go back and just kind of see what they had changed. I played the game so damn much for the first couple months that it was out. And then once they introduced honor mode, I played that 180 times before I even got through Act 1. So Lord knows I know everything that there was going on in that game. So I'm interested to see kind of what they changed. There was some quality of life updates that are really, really nice. But now I'm doing a Gloomstalker Ranger. I kind of want to go back into the archery a little bit more. And the lightning sorcerer was still super fun. I'm not giving that up. It's just that seems a little bit more of a rinse and repeat
Yeah.
kind of play style, which doesn't necessarily suit me. The archery with the options of the different arrows and stuff like that. That's definitely getting more of my interest. Game's still amazing, still looks fantastic, and every time I meet a character again, I'm like, oh man, this is amazing. However, this time I did accidentally kill Zevlor immediately after getting into the Druid Grove, so we will see how that plays out.
You said accidentally?
So yeah, accidentally. So there's some things that you got to do if you want, good heals and things like that. And one of them is to pickpocket Zevlor's gauntlets that he has.
Mm-hmm.
Because he has his gauntlets, the Hell Rider's gloves or something like that, where every time the caster heals somebody, they gain resistance from bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage, which is phenomenal. And so every playthrough, I've always stolen them from him to give them to Shadowheart, my ongoing love interest.
Love interest?
Ongoing, forever. My ongoing
Yeah,
love
it's
interest.
your glove interest, not your
My
love
glove
interest.
It's a glove interest now.
I just
Well,
wanted
now
to
we're
make
really
sure.
deep into it. Now we're really into it. But
Doing glove things.
he caught me like 6 times in a row. I tried to talk my way out of it, and with the ranger, my persuasion isn't as good as it once was with my bard. And so he didn't buy the shenanigans that I was selling him, and he started to attack me. So I had no choice. So I completely nuked him. And I'm interested to see how that plays out the rest of the storyline. I've already gotten a lot of dialogue options for him being dead.
Huh.
So I'm interested to see how that plays out with the tieflings actually leaving the grove.
Yeah.
But I can't wait. It's gonna be fun.
Dope. Yeah, hopefully I can check out Baldur's Gate 3 next year when I'm playing the bigger games. Which I'm going to talk about one that I'm looking forward to a lot playing next year. But Roger, I want to hear you talk a little bit about Still Wakes to Deep. This is another game that you were finally able to play, obviously via Game
Dude,
Pass.
that shit is that is not for the faint of heart, man. Like, I think I said last time we played, like I got partway through it, man, and then I got to the part where the map separates out and you're in the water tanks and you're like, it's showing me a map, so clearly I need to know where I'm walking here.
The
And I
game
know
kind of
there's a
is
guy.
linear though, because like it won't let you walk the wrong way. Like if it's like, oh, you
Yeah.
don't, it's going to be like, no, you can't. It's not time to go that way. So
Yeah,
it's interesting.
like as soon as I walk into this fucking water area, I know this guy's gonna be like, come out at me, and I'll be like, all right, he's trying to eat my face. This is fun. I love it.
Now
I
this
just-
is the one that you played before, Vic, wasn't it?
Yeah, I played and beat this one. I really enjoyed this one. I think I gave it an 8
you
out of
played
10.
specifically through the hours of like noon 30 and like 3 p.m.
This actually wasn't one that wasn't bad playing at night. I did play it at nighttime as well. Because it's not over the top like scary. It's not like Alan Wake 2 scary at all. Definitely nowhere near. At least to me, it wasn't.
It's not-
atmospheric for me, like crawling through ventilation shafts, and I'm like, oh man,
Yeah, it could be very
space
claustrophobic.
is too
at
tight,
times.
my friend. Space is too tight.
Just getting claustrophobia by proxy.
And the game's like, hey, just so you know, this is how you turn off your flashlight. And you're like, why would I ever turn off my flashlight?
Right. I'm not
Fuck
gonna
that
lie. I
noise.
don't know how my flashlight never
That's,
died because it was always on the entire game.
The thing, like, I like, if there's not something that comes out because I have my flashlight on all the time, like, I'd be a little disappointed. But I was like, I don't know if I can do this, man. This is too much. This is way too fucking much.
You fuck around and find out real quick.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about a game that I did play and beat, and that was Journey to the Savage Planet. Again, shout out to Game Pass because I was able to able to play this as well. I did know that they recently announced a sequel to this game. I think it's like Revenge to the Savage Planet or something like that along the lines. But overall, this is a very enjoyable game. It's just like I'm gonna get the trailer up on screen here, but um, it kind of missed its mark in some aspects. Like it was pretty cool because like you would unlock different abilities or being able to get like a jet booster or like being able to double jump and stuff like that. But you had to find this like alien mineral on this planet that you've never been to, and like these scout droids are going out to find these things. So it's like you have this like expansive skill tree to unlock, but you can only unlock them once these robots discover the mineral out in the world, but they don't always do it. But you have to progress the story, you have to have certain abilities. But you can beat the game two different ways. I did both. First one, you go in and investigate the tower, and you get to the bottom, and you fight this big bad boss, whatever, kill him, and you actually get eaten by the boss, and game's over. And I'm like, okay, there's that. And then like
GG.
the credits roll, and then like once the credits are over, you get like pooped out, like you come out of his butt, and it's like, okay, well, this technically is the end of the game, but you can continue playing. Like you have this like robot that's like guiding you through the game. So I was like, okay, cool. I was like, because I know the real ending is like to be able to leave the planet and go back to Earth, but you have to complete your quote unquote like exploration there. So they want you to basically like 100% the entire planet, which I did not do. But to be able to leave Earth, you have to scavenge 5 fuel pods. So I went around, scavenged those, hopped down in my spaceship, and left. But then it's like your boss is like really pissed off at you because you left too soon and stuff like that. So it's like really goofy in times. It kind of reminded me of High on Life, that Squanch game that I played a while ago. So it's really silly, really goofy at times. Mechanically, it plays really smooth, but the biggest issue is like I beat the game, but then there were like so many more abilities I could have unlocked in the game. Like it felt like it cut it short. Like the story didn't last as long as the skill tree was because there
Hmm.
was just so much more to explore and do. But it's like if there's no reason for it, then there's
Why?
no point. There like, exactly. There's nothing to do,
It's
in
not
those
keeping you
other
there. No need to be there anymore.
right. But yeah, overall definitely a fun experience, and I'm looking forward to the sequel whenever that does drop. All right, another one for you, Scott. Let's talk about let's talk about Deadlock. Another one's not so exciting there, but Deadlock obviously it's one of the newer games. How your sessions been going? You've been enjoying the game? Is it getting better for you or worse?
Enjoying is a subjective term. I'm never playing Abrams again. Took him out of my queue. Can't do that anymore. I had one good game with him, and then I never had a good game with him ever since. Got my shit absolutely pushed in. Not a fan. But with some other heroes and other players, other characters, the game's been great. It's been fun. Um, I wouldn't say learning the game. Uh, I would say just kind of getting back to how lane games are supposed to operate. Has definitely proven to be a lot more fruitful than just pushing and trying to gun down. Holding a lane is equally as important in this
Mhm.
game. It's I would even argue it's even more important than just trying to push a lane, because guarding a lane is mucho importante.
Because if you lose your guardians and you lose your
Yeah,
walker, you're giving up flex slots to the enemy team, and
yeah,
look how quickly
absolutely,
one item makes a difference. You
absolutely.
buy, you fucking you save out a heal. Your one item, you get a flex slot, you throw in a heal beam, all of a sudden you're just shredding in Abrams, and he's like, "Oh, this sucks."
Absolutely, but I swear to God, every time I look down a lane and I see a Moe and Krill, my God, I just want to fucking quit. I just want to fucking quit so bad. But no, it's still super fun. This game, it's here to stay, man. It's such a fun game. So many people are playing it now. I played it with a couple of the friends that hop in occasionally here and there. And it's just fun. It's still every time you get in, it still feels fresh. It's still like it gets your adrenaline going. It's invigorating to see like a lane game like this and a mobile like this to just be so busy all the time with players and just still be as fun. Like there's meta characters for sure, 100%. Uh, and there's always gonna be. You can't escape that. But even if you don't have one of them, or if you're playing against one of them, like there's still options you can have to kind of even the scales there, and it's just so fun to play.
Agreed.
I didn't get anything, but sorry about that. Yeah, Roger, real quick on
It said, "Sorry, I wasn't paying attention." What was that?
no,
Start from the top?
I heard you everything that you were saying. It was they were asking for a code for Google because they're signing into my YouTube TV account.
It's six nine
there
four
you go.
two zero six
Should
nine.
be good. You're welcome.
Nice.
But yeah, Roger, real quick in regards to Deadlock, because obviously I've been dropping a lot of the upcoming updates or stuff that were being changed. Like you had some insight onto it, like you don't know how to feel about the updates to the urn.
Yeah, so if you're shit, like, there has to be a better catch-up mechanic in the game right now, and Earn went from win more to win even more. Like, I feel as though Earn right now, with the big changes they're making, have really kind of shifted the value of Earn and makes it just so much more cancerous to deal with. Because now with Earn, you're not just getting the souls and the boosted souls, and there's just so much more to it that, like, typically if you're winning, you can drop that sixth player on your team just for earn duty and deal with earn every 5 minutes it's up or whatever. And now you're just like, they could literally just sit there and wait for earn, grab earn, move earn. Oh, they have enough souls. They literally didn't even need to lane. Like, it
Yeah.
it makes the disparity worse, I feel, right now.
So I 100% agree with him on that, because the disparity of an OP team grabbing earn every 5-6 minutes is awful. I feel like when they did the earn update, it was to try to help, because the game is very eat or be eaten. It's like after about 10 minutes of gameplay, you kind of know who's gonna win.
And like mid boss wasn't swingy. Like when we talk about MOBAs, mid boss is the equivalent to, for me, League of Legends Dragon, or Baron, I should say Baron. So Dragon is the equivalent of Earn, and Baron is the equivalent of the mid boss in Deadlock. And the thing is, like, mid boss doesn't feel even remotely close to value that Baron does. Like Baron is just hugely different. Like, it's way better, I feel, for the game. Like, if you're ahead, Baron is how you close out the game. If you're ahead, mid boss and Deadlock doesn't really close out game because you're already winning. It helps the team that's behind win more. But the problem is, like, the team that's behind isn't going to be getting it because they can't contest it. So it doesn't help close out the game, which I feel it should have. But now Earn just feels like a better dragon. It feels even better than mid boss now. Like getting Earn every few minutes versus that mid boss every 10 or 15, I think it is. It just is vastly different. I think it's only going to, people who are already losing are only going to lose more, and I think Earn just shuts out the game faster. Like
100%.
it doesn't give you a time to come back.
100%. They buffed it to help the losing team, but they failed to realize that the losing team is not going to get it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not going to happen because the losing team is getting shredded 10 seconds after they land in a lane. If they landed a contested lane and they're already losing by 5, 10, 15,000 souls, they are going to get shredded. Absolutely 100% every time. Unless you have some Rain Man on your fucking team who can be behind by 10,000 souls and still somehow win, which doesn't happen. So they buffed it to help out the losing team, but the losing team does not get it. And
what really needs to happen, I think, right now in the game is we need better crowd control and better utility abilities, because right now it feels like everything you do to CC somebody just doesn't work. It's literally just a game of shooting each other, at the end of a hallway, and whoever aims better wins. And that's fine, that's a shooter game typically, but this is not a shooter game. This is a MOBA. This is meant to be a little different. But the problem is, for example, McGinnis, her ult's still going if you stun her. Why? Why? Like it should it should stop alts. But certain characters, you hit them in their alt and they're like, done.
Yep. The second you touch them, they're done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
100%.
and there's just a sampling of characters that are just super overtuned and overpowered, and it just feels like the people in the community right now are just struggling. They're like, I'm gonna insta lock this character and I'm just gonna win lane. Why am I losing? It must be everyone else's fault.
Yeah.
So real
Like,
quick on one
so much
last
to shoot out.
Go ahead.
last thing for Deadlock. They're adding rank mode on October 15th. Just real quick, it's
Good.
11 medals with 6 levels in each. Medals will be updated once per week. Must play at least 7 ranked games to get a new rank each week. Must have 50 games played. No behavior restrictions. Solo queue only, but it's only open from 1 to 4 p.m. and 7 to 10 p.m. What, Roger? Go to you first. What's your thoughts on the rank mode and why is it solo queue?
Why is it solo queue? Because
Yeah.
they're not ready to deal with like dealing with sorting out teams of people. So like the problem is communication right now. Like the game is so new that like if 2 or 3 people know what they're doing, they can steamroll a team of 6 easily. So like if you land into a lane with your duo queue, then if you're good, you just have to be good, not great, good. You can lane that other teammate, those guys out, and you can win lane. And it's going to shift the game pretty fast, and that's the problem. I think the people deal with things like League, for example, or all these other games. It makes matchmaking harder in a ranked format if you have a team of people like that, because you're it's not like Call of Duty. How long's a COD match?
10 minutes for TDM.
Okay, cool. It
If
doesn't
that.
matter if you just get steamrolled. 10 minutes is 10 minutes. But Deadlock is a 40-minute
Yeah.
game. So like now you're playing 4 COD matches where you're just getting your asshole gaped in real time, and they're like,
Like we
"Hope
did
you
in Valorant.
enjoyed." Yeah, same with Valorant. And like Valorant's only 5 people, but Deadlock is 6. So now it's getting to the point where the game is new. They're also using a different matchmaking algorithm as well. There was an article recently about their matchmaking algorithm was actually written by Chat GPT, and it works well. Like the developer for the algorithm said, "Yeah, I just asked Chat GPT to help me out. Said, hey man, I'm looking for an algorithm for like matchmaking," and it's like, "Yeah, here you go."
Oh,
And he's like,
jeez.
"Wow, this is works pretty well," and it does. Don't get me wrong. Like I load into a game pretty fast in Deadlock, and it doesn't feel terrible, but at the same time, like you can see right now they want to tease out the rank mode because it's going to get into a stomp fest,
Yeah.
and
Obviously,
I
when I
think
dropped
that's
that article into the Lunacy Arts Discord, like Marshmallow, or no, it was Phil. He dropped the meme of the one guy just like dripping wet, like just sweating to death, and I was like, I know that's exactly how that's going to be in that game mode.
hmm
But let's move on to another game here that's been really sweaty, very comparable to Valorant. I was able to get into the closed beta for Fragpunk. It's exclusive right now to the Series S and X console, so unfortunately no PC yet. I'm gonna get a trailer up here on screen and kind of give it an idea of what I've been playing. It's basically Valorant. There's a bunch of different, like, they're called lancers in this game as opposed to like agents or champions or whatever you want to call them. Each at the beginning of each round, you guys vote or like spend your points on cards that you want as a team to have, and they like completely alter the gameplay. So like some of them can either like make all the enemy heads bigger, or you can add like patches of grass to the defensive sites, or you can make it so like your health regens much quicker than others, or you start with more ammo. Like they're really like drastic, and they completely change each round, each game. And then on top of that, once you spend that, you get to choose because you can change your agent, your lancer every round as well. So it's like, so say if I was playing like Raze every round, and then I'm like, all right, I need to switch to Killjoy. That's kind of like
hmm
the ability to switch lancers on the fly, as opposed to being locked into the one character the entire game. But how they kind of balances it, and that's interesting with the economy, is like your guns. You get like a be able to choose guns like you do in Valorant. They lay it out. There's only like 2 assault rifles, 2 submachine guns, 2 LMGs, 2 shotguns, 2 marksman rifles, 1 sniper. And you're only allowed to use that gun for one life the entire game. So like if you choose one of the ARs and you die with it, you're no longer going to be able to play with that AR that entire game.
But if you live,
Yeah, if you live, you get to keep it on to the next match, next round, which is pretty cool. But there are some cards that come up where it's like all guns are available again. So it's like there
There you
are
go.
possibilities to be able to play with it again, but you may
hit
not
the
be able to.
refresh button, bud.
And it's like, man, like it's really, really fucking good, and
Mhm.
I'm really enjoying it. I'm really excited to see like this become like a main staple in the FPS genre. Um, and I'm just super excited to be able to play with friends as well. I've been like solo queuing in this just with randos, and it's it's definitely a lot of fun. I can see us definitely playing a lot. And what's interesting though is like these games aren't going to last you 45 minutes because instead of Valorant being what you have to win like 10 rounds or whatever, it's like best of 7 in
Mhm.
this. So it's like they go relatively
Half
quickly.
as many.
Right, and you're still doing the concept like you're still trying to plant the bomb or defuse the bomb. Same game mode. But also another card that happens is instead of having one bomb, you can have two bombs. So then like you can go to either
Like
side.
dropped, you're not like everyone get on the spike. No,
Yeah.
there's multiple spikes.
Yeah. So it could definitely be pretty really really crazy. Definitely looking forward to playing that with some other folks as well.
Oh, for sure.
But Scott, I know before this show you were like, man, you're ready to talk about Age of Mythology. That's another game that was here on my list. Interesting enough, I downloaded this game just because I'm trying to complete Xbox Quest and I needed to be able to play a Game Pass game to get achievements. And at that time, I was like, I'm just going to give Age of Mythology a try. I've never played it before, never played it. I don't play games like this either. I don't really see myself beating this game. I don't think I'm gonna like really invest a ton of time into it because it's like 28 to 50 hours to beat. And I'm like, I don't have that kind of time to play these kind of games.
Upsetting.
But
Upsetting.
I think it might just be a game that like I hop in at random times, beat like a mission or two, and then like hop out. Like I'm not gonna invest like hour and a half of each time I play like I do all of my other story driven games. But
Upsetting.
it plays really cool. I mean, it's different. I'm still trying to grasp the idea and like mechanics and stuff like that. Just because I don't play these games, I can't tell you the last time I've even played a game like this.
That's fair.
But another game I wanted to talk about here on my list is Lego 2K Drive. Again, another game I just wanted to download for like achievements and Game Pass quests. But I was also looking for like a new racing game that I can play just casually because I've already done everything I pretty much could do in Forza Horizon 5, and I'm not a really big fan of motorsport. That's too like realistic of a racing game. I needed that arcade feel, and yeah, I think this is gonna scratch the itch for a little bit because I do want to eventually get the Crew Motorfest whenever I want to spend money and buy a game. But that'll probably be the racing game I get to. But right now, Lego 2K Drive will kind of hold me over until I do get to that. All right. All right, Roger. Talk a little bit about Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. How's that going? Is it still really fun to play?
No, it hasn't not been fun to play. That's the best part. It's usually genuinely feels good from start to finish for me. Um, I don't know much to say other than it just feels like a solid it feels like a solid Legend of Zelda game. Like I the series hasn't like for a while now hasn't really had a bad patch. They reinvent themselves to make sure that they don't run the gambit and kind of wear themselves out. This one, I gotta be honest, is probably one of my favorite recently. It it does everything I want it to do. Like some of the puzzles are a little challenging sometimes, and that's the fun of it. It doesn't feel like everything's just easy to figure out. Like you're looking over there, you're like, oh, there's a secret room, but how do I get into the secret room? And you're like, there's no doors. Oh, look, there's sand dripping from the ceiling. Maybe I'm supposed to dig through the ceiling into the room. Well, guess what? You are. And it feels good to be able to kind of like see these things. You're like, you have to think in 3D and not just up, down, left, right, but, you actually have to think instead of forward, backwards, left, right, it's up, down, left, right,
Mm-hmm.
forward, and back.
Yeah.
So it definitely does change the game a lot.
Dope. All right, one last game that I just wanted to cover is Metaphor Refantasio. I played the demo, the prologue demo that's available right now. I think in total it's like 10 hours long. It's basically like the first act of the game that is available. I'm only about like an hour into it, and I already can tell that this game is really fucking good, and it kind of has me itching like, ooh, I want to play this more. But I'm trying to like not play too much of it because it's a game that I want to play next year. Like I'm gonna buy this game and play the game from start to
My
finish.
man doesn't want to finish the year with a 70, 90 hour game.
Not at all. Like I'm just gonna play it like if I'm looking for something to do and like and kill some time. This is definitely I'm gonna keep playing the demo. For sure. But I still have 10 more games I gotta beat before the end of the year, and I have everything kind of lined up on how that's gonna happen. But yeah, nonetheless, yeah, it's a really fucking good game. And to be honest, I haven't even gotten to any combat yet, and I'm an hour and a half in. But like, the story just has me hooked. Like the graphics has me hooked. Like the menus and how everything just plays. I'm just like, yo, this shit is fucking good. And I never played an Atlas game, so there's that as well. But overall, it's I highly recommend checking this game out. And even if you don't want to buy it, play the demo. I mean, you get like a pretty huge sliver of the game that's available to you for free. Roger, are you excited
It's
to check this one out, or have you already?
I don't I'm waiting for a little bit just to make sure that the community's like, yeah, this is the game. Cause like some of the games lately I'll jump on, people are like, this is gonna be the game. This is a great developer, and the developer's like, we accidentally shit the bed. We've made masterpieces before, but this is it was not it. And I'm like, for $70, I'm like, we really have to hope that it hits right.
Yeah. All right, man. I know we spent a ton of time on what we've been playing, but I guess it'll be time to go ahead and move on to the industry news. So let's go ahead and check that out. All right, man. I'm going to kick it off here in regards to kind of an update to something that we've been kind of following over the past few years, and this is for Epic Games versus Google. Um, Google has been ordered to open its Android App Store to competitors, and one of them that basically hopped on this immediately was Xbox. Xbox like announced it like a day or two after this, and was like, "All right, starting in November, you're going to be able to buy and play your Xbox games via the Xbox app on all Androids." And I'm like, "That's dope." And because they're also opening up like the cloud gaming feature a little bit more, which we're going to talk about later on, but it's going to like allow you to play pretty much any games wherever you want, however you want. But yeah, that's just a quick update on that. Moving on to Sega, as I was just talking about one of their games. One of their other games that are in the works, like reboot of the franchise Shinobi, has been confirmed that the Shinobi is getting a film adaptation from the director from the movie Extraction, and his name is Joe Musashi. I believe that's how it would be pronounced. So I know that movie was received really well, and I know a lot of people were excited for the sequel. But nonetheless, any Shinobi fans out there, you're getting the movie.
I can't even remember the last Shinobi game.
It's been quite some
I
time, honestly.
like I know of them, but it's like Sega, my man, you have so many cool IPs. Like, you know what I'm really itching for? Like a new Burnout game from Sega.
Burnout.
Like,
I think it's actually owned by EA now.
oh,
The
is it
racing game.
really?
Yeah, because they
Oh
I think
man,
it was Codemasters that had that, but I could be wrong.
yeah, because like, yeah, I keep playing Yakuza and I'm playing all the old Sega arcade games, and I'm like, oh, Burnout and just driving to the end, just
Yeah,
casual.
Burnout series racing is developed by Criterion Games. Were published by Acclaimed Entertainment, while later installments were published by EA. But yeah, EA bought the IP out eventually. All right, Roger.
Speaking of,
There's not a show where we don't talk about Ubisoft, and Ubisoft is being sued for sharing Ubisoft Store and Ubisoft Plus user data with Meta. What's your thoughts on this?
no, what? No. I can't believe the microtransaction only developer decided that they're going to try to make more nickel and diming off of their users. You can't lie to me right now, okay? No way they do that.
No, not at all, right?
No, never. Fuck, dude. Like that's insulting you would say that.
Yeah, like I wonder to know how like this plays an effect. Like once they like figure out like the lawsuit, like if anybody like say our data was shared from Ubisoft to Meta, like do we get compensated in any way, shape, or
If
form?
there's a class action lawsuit,
Yeah.
But then again, did you sign away your rights
Yeah,
for
we probably
Ubisoft?
did.
You know,
You know, like
yeah,
at the start of the game, it's
exactly.
like, please accept these terms and conditions. You're like, scroll,
Yes.
yes. You're like, all right,
Fuck.
Well, it's
Guess
just
I
like
sold away
Disney.
my second unborn kid.
It's just like Disney. Like, you can't sue Disney World
yeah.
because you signed up for Disney Plus.
Yeah, it's so stupid. Which they actually they fixed that loophole.
Yeah, I know.
Thankfully.
They
But,
didn't fix it. They just neglected not to use the loophole on that lawsuit for the guy who died. They
right.
just decided they weren't going to use that.
Yeah. All right. Welcome to the show, Inhuman. It's Big Sega, exactly. But Roger, last but not least, Bungie was in the news again.
God damn it, dude. Why do I get All right. So they're being sued for copyright infringement. Like, I just So an author is suing Bungie for copyright infringement after they said that the studio copied their writing in order to develop the story for Destiny 2. So the writer had parted ways, I believe, at this point, and the company didn't have the rights to his work because he wrote it himself, not at work, I guess is the idea. So although Destiny 2 offers an immersive and thrilling experience that keeps the players on the edge of their seats, the game is based directly on Martineau's source work. So they display very similar attitudes, histories, mindsets. He also said that he noticed its start when the rise of Dominus Gaul from Destiny 2 replicates the rise of Overlord Ynera from Martineau's work. And I apologize, it's not somebody who worked for Bungie, it's just an author who wrote under his pen name Casper Cole. He wrote 2 books in 2013 and 2014, and he's saying they literally took the entirety of his plot and changed some names.
First off, that completely negates my argument. Was like, if he did that on his personal time, how'd Bungie get a hold of it? But secondly, I go to a new counterpoint. Casper Cole's a dumbass pen name. That's a
Casper,
really
the
bad,
unfriendly writer over here.
that's a terrible terrible pen name. And thirdly, inspiration.
Yeah, but all you do is claim inspiration. Exactly what we said about Nintendo and Power World.
There's
Man.
no, and like, let's be honest here, unless they're literally ripping off everything word for word, like it's hard to do anymore because of inspiration, and there are no original ideas.
Yeah, look at Disney.
It's just who does it better. It's like
Yeah.
they could have technically made The Witcher. They could have made The Witcher, but just called everyone by different names and then just continued off the Witcher story and then called them something else like Slayers instead of Witchers and just
Yeah. Well,
that'd have been it.
we've always seen
This
that with
is
Disney.
Givia of Rare Alt.
Like Disney was like that too. Like every like classic Disney movie that we love, like Lion King and all those ones, like they are actually copies of stories of a different author who made the animations even before. And it's like, how did they even get away with it?
Lion King was for sure Hamlet.
More or less. But it was like a direct like one for one. Like they used lions. They used like everything was 1-to-1, and they were just like, we're gonna take that. Thank you. We're Disney.
Thank you very much.
But to play devil's advocate on here a little bit, like, if it's that close that he feels he has a case, like, bring the book to the court case,
Right.
and
Why
see how
not?
it goes. But at the same time, it's also one of those things where, like, and we talk about this a lot, where it's like, yeah, maybe big gaming, big Sega, as Inhuman put it, is really just getting away with a lot of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're just getting away with, like, they somebody finds a book, they pitch that entire idea to like the director, and then they're like, yeah, we're gonna go with that, and then that's it. They just steal that entire idea
And don't do any research and find out that it's already written.
What do you mean? We wrote this. It's the plot of our game, our Destiny 2. You mean my book? No, our game.
Eric from accounting came to me with this very original idea and said, I had a dream last night, where this, and this happened. It's
Now,
not
mind you,
my
I had
fault
this
that happened in
dream.
that book.
You know, this dream was after I read the book, but don't worry, no relation.
Totally unrelated. Totally unrelated. The things that I did that day had nothing to do with my dream. The books I read had nothing to do with it. No, not at all.
Not at all. All right, guys, that is all the industry news we got for you this week. Let's go ahead and move on to the gaming news. All right, guys, kicking it off here with Xbox, and this is probably the biggest news of the week. Honestly, I know it was in all the gaming industries, all of the gaming podcasts I also was listening to, but we finally got the shakeup that I think that we were seeking for such a long time, and what we were calling for such a long time. 343 Industries is no longer called that. They have rebranded to Halo Studios. And with that, they're switching to the Unreal Engine 5, which is great because I think this is going to allow them to get content out a lot faster. On top of that, they can hire and train people a lot easier because most of the industry is already working on or using Unreal Engine 5. So it allows you to hire somebody right off the streets like who's worked with Unreal Engine 5 and be able to plug them wherever, as opposed to hiring them and trying to use the Slipspace engine, which was apparently a nightmare to even use. But here we are. Now we're using Unreal Engine 5. They did confirm they have multiple projects in the works. So that's really exciting. But as I get a trailer here up on screen, Roger, what's your thoughts here?
Um, I'm kind of like we have to wait and see what happens here because like if they're gonna switch the engine, are they gonna actually do they have the talent to really use the engine to its best potential?
Right.
I just it's kind of a wait and see moment.
Yeah.
Well, and they also changed. Not only did they change the engine, they have also changed the director. They've
Mhm.
changed a lot of very important figureheads.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, one who, and this goes no farther than this, obviously, who in previous tweets and social media says they hate making games with guns. But this is just far enough. So there could be a lot of things. I don't know if it would be. I mean, I certainly wouldn't be the Unreal Engine 5 change, and I don't think it would be anybody's lack of skills with the Unreal Engine 5. I think as long as they keep the focus on the game and moving forward, I think this is gonna be fucking awesome, honestly, because it
Yeah.
looks so good in Unreal 5. It looks so good in Unreal.
Yeah, all of
Looks
the
so good.
concept footage that I just had up on screen, yeah, that shit looks really good. And basically, that's Project Foundry, so it's not like a legitimate like project that's going to turn into a game. It was a project for them to kind of play around with Unreal Engine 5 and see what Halo assets they can create, and it looks really fucking good.
Maybe hire those guys.
But yeah, but nonetheless, it's looking really good, and I'm just curious to see what they do with the Halo story because Halo Infinite was the ending was like very loose ended, like it left. It was basically more or less a cliffhanger, and everyone's like, "What's happening here?" But there's rumors that they're going to be kind of going back to the beginning, similar to how Gears of War is going back to the beginning. They're making that prequel with E-Day. Do they go back and just remake Halo Combat Evolved in Unreal
Please
Engine
no.
5?
Please
No,
no. We
please
have it
don't.
enough.
Please don't.
Please
Please
don't.
don't.
Yeah.
Please
Stop.
don't.
Well, the idea is
Please
that they're
don't.
going
We're
to
good.
try and bring this to the PS5 as well to expand
No,
that
Please
audience.
don't. Please.
no, they don't. They
No.
don't deserve it.
We don't
They
need
don't
it.
deserve it. They don't
We
deserve
don't
it.
need
They
it.
don't. It's not even about whether or not they need it. They don't deserve it. They don't deserve it. It doesn't need that. It doesn't need any of that. I'm gonna be the a-hole here, and I'm gonna say that ha- at what point do you go from Halo in the Halo franchise to just like another Metroid, another fucking Mega Man, another fucking Tomb Raider? You just become this repetitive fucking mess.
Yeah, it's definitely possible, but I just think that Halo is always going to be around just because like it is without Halo, Xbox doesn't exist. Like Halo is a pillar for
Halo is
Xbox,
Xbox.
right?
It is a pillar of
Xbox
our
is Halo.
And good one there. But I just feel like there's always going to be a Halo game, and that's actually an interesting question I want to throw to you guys. Is like, what other type of Halo game can they make, because they don't have to just center on Master Chief. I mean, one of the best stories that we've had was Halo Reach or Halo 3 ODST. Those are really great games, but they can expand outside of the whole first person genre. Obviously, they did Halo Wars, but like what other style games? Because I have a couple of mine, but I'd love to hear from you guys first. So, Scott, what kind of game in the Halo universe would you like to see in like different genres or concepts?
So I like the idea of the strategy concept with Halo Wars. That was really really nice to see them branch out into something like that. Maybe another RTS kind of like that, or something that's like very very like big picture.
Mm-hmm.
Like extremely big picture, like RTS, like space, like in space, like where you're worrying about what planets you need to go to make sure you're defending, like things like that. That
Mm-hmm.
would be super super nice for an RTS.
This kind of reminds me of
Out
like the Galactic Conquest mode from Star Wars
Yeah,
Battlefront series.
yeah, almost, yeah, just like that. Galactic Conquest from Battlefront, something like that, where but I think more of in a real time. So I think more of
Mhm.
like, so I think Battlefront Galactic Conquest, but I think with uh Helldivers 2 Consequences, right? So I'm thinking like, yeah, you get like where you're gonna go, what you're gonna do, but like if you go to this planet, you're gonna lose this planet,
Yeah.
and like really, what is it's maybe like big picture chess
Yeah.
almost,
Yeah.
where you're kind of worried about that. That would be something that I think would be very very nice, very fresh in the Halo franchise,
Mhm.
but still give you that Halo feel, where at this point you're not so much boots on the ground, you are a decision maker in the battle against the Covenant.
Yeah.
Like we throughout the entire Halo series, we've seen um, decisions made behind the scenes that have affected like what we're doing on the planet, like how and how we feel like for the storyline. Um,
What about
and I
just playing
think
from the aliens' point of view?
that was gonna be my next one. The next one was gonna be, how about we flip it for a minute and we get
Play as Arbiter or something.
we get the Covenant's point of view. Or you are now, it's almost like a Horde versus Alliance at this point.
Mhm.
Where you're now in the Covenant and you're working towards that, and then you know it's almost like I picture that as like, if you're playing for the Covenant, Master Chief would be like Nemesis in Resident Evil 3, right? Where like he shows up and you're like, well, the only thing I can do is get the fuck out. Right.
Well,
That's it. Well, about time I'll be hitting the old dusty trail. Like that's kind of
guess I'm
that's how I
fucked.
feel. I think those would be really really interesting takes on that, especially if you want
The
to keep,
hottest takes.
Mhm.
yeah, if you want to keep it going without being repetitive,
Yeah.
then I think one of those, or like something like that adjacent, would be the way to go, because at this point it's just like, man, we've finished the fight 6 times,
And
and
like Halo
we
Infinite,
keep finishing the fight.
yeah. And then Halo Infinite's like, oh, let's just leave it a cliffhanger, and you're like, why?
Well, because Halo
We're gonna
Infinite was
have to.
supposed to be like that infinite,
Yeah.
like the hence the name, it was supposed to be like this infinite amount of
Yeah.
content and story, like,
Mm-hmm.
and they just abandoned it altogether.
And it was anything but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So like I
what
think
about you, Roger?
that's really it.
Any games or genres or concepts as well?
Honestly, I just want to see the extended universe. There's so much to draw from, and they're just not doing it at the moment.
Right. There's
If they
tons of
did a
source
prequel game
material.
with if they did a prequel game with with the Forerunners and the Flood and everything like that, that would be a better prequel, I would
Mhm.
think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And just to
Be
tune
able to
into
be able to just go through that extended universe about them, because we have it in books and stuff like that, but we don't truly have it.
right. Yeah, so there's a couple of them that I want to talk about that I've also heard from some other podcasts, and some of them are really serious tone, some of them are like goofy as fuck. But before I do that, I just want to acknowledge Inhuman here in chat, a third-person horror playing as hell jumpers fighting the flood. That is actually kind of a concept that I had in mind, was like a horror-driven game where like you're not a Spartan, but like maybe you're just a Marine and you're trying to survive, or even just a civilian, and the flood invades your planet and you're just trying to survive. Like the objective is just to escape, more or less, or just something along those lines of like even like the feeling of like Steel Wakes the Deep that you're playing, Roger. Like just imagine that, but like flood, and you just never know what's around the corner.
Yeah.
Like that concept would be really cool. I would actually love to see like a Hell Jumpers game. Like the it's there. Like just use the ODST and just build a Hell Divers game, and like you can build in the concepts like you Scott, like what Helldivers already does is like the whole meta of like, hey, if you go save this planet as a community, you're overall going to win this upgrader and you're going to lose out on this one, but which one do you guys want to fight for the most? That'd be pretty dope.
Do you
But
want to help these children in their hospital, or do you just want to say fuck the kids and get lasers?
yeah.
Fuck them kids, give me lasers.
Fuck kids, get lasers.
Another goofy one that I think it was Miranda Sanchez over at IGN mentioned was like make it like a party game where it's like it's like a grunt birthday party, and like Master Chief comes in to like destroy the party, and like you're just trying to, it's like a 1v4, like it's like a asymmetrical game where like you're just trying to evade Master Chief, and it kind of alludes to like the concept that you guys are talking about, like I'm fucked, I gotta get out of here kind of concept. So it was like when you guys mentioned that, I was like, man, like that'd be a really cool story. But it's like you're running around as a grunt, and they're just saying goofy and silly shit the entire time. You're like, what the hell? But overall, like maybe like a fun Halo party game would be pretty cool. Um,
I'm just picturing Master Chief just hitting a hammer like 700 times like Mario, just like bah, 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 bah. And then that's it. When you say like Halo party game, I'm just like, "Ugh, I don't know, man.
yeah, I doubt it. I think it'll probably derail it, but they can definitely have a lot of fun with the Halo franchise. But nonetheless, we'll definitely continue to follow and see where that does go. But moving on to some other Xbox related news, Xbox Series X and S has actually moved into second place for most sold consoles in the UK this year. They have surpassed the Switch, but kind of expected in a way because the Switch is about to move on to the Switch 2 or the new Switch or whatever
Which
the
has
hell
been
they
around
decide to call it.
forever,
But
but to still sell them.
yeah, to outsell 'em, I think it's pretty big because like Nintendo had a really big year. I think in
Mm-hmm.
regards to like first party exclusives, like there were still reasons to buy a Switch if you didn't already have one.
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, for Xbox related news, our games, Call of Duty Mobile is getting a new battle royale map called Cry. I'm gonna get the trailer up on screen for everybody to check it out. I actually haven't played Call of Duty Mobile in quite some time, but it's pretty cool to see that they're still getting like pretty like regular updates. This looks like a much smaller battle royale map as well. But I also wonder like if they end up bringing this to like the main Call of Duty. Not likely, but it'd be pretty cool. Scott, I know you're a big proper pooper. Um, you play
The
Call of Duty
properest.
Call of Duty Mobile at all? Or
Absolutely not. I
is,
refuse.
is this enough to bring you in at all?
No,
Nah,
not at all. Nope.
can't do it.
No,
Not even.
fuck you, he says.
Not even. But no, thank you. I'm stuffed. I have to drive. I can't have it anymore. Did we lose Vic?
No, we just lost audio.
Yep, can you hear me?
GG. Yeah,
There
we
we
hear
go.
you
Sorry,
now.
sorry, my bad. I forgot to put
GG
the
easy.
trailer up. I muted my mic so I can blow my nose. But yeah, I definitely forgot to bring the trailer up. I had it playing on my screen, but didn't transition it over. But anyone can go check that out for sure. COD Mobile is more fun than Warzone. That's what I heard. I mean, I feel like
We're a small indie developer. We make
COD
mistakes.
Mobile apparently gets like a lot of a lot more content than the main Call of Duty game.
You know, they fucking have Verdansk. So
Right. All right. Last up for Xbox
You sound
is
salty.
is in regards.
no, not at all. Not at all. This is me pre-salty. Wait until it doesn't come out in 2025 like they said it was gonna.
So last up here for Xbox's hardware related news, and I'm just like, oh, this is pretty dope. I'm pretty sure it would sell really well. And it's the Indiana Jones like limited edition console and controller. But again, the only way you can get this is a sweepstakes, as every other exclusive console that you can get.
No way.
And then they go,
Okay,
our hardware sales are down.
That's one of two ways you can get it: the sweepstakes and playing and letting that happen legally, or robbery. That's all I'm saying.
Blind robbery.
Just straight up robbery.
Like I don't know who's making the decisions at Xbox for this kind of stuff, because it's like you're really worried about your hardware sales being down, but every time that you would have a reason to
And
boost
then
your
you
hardware
don't
sales,
sell.
you don't ever sell the console. Like
Dude.
everyone would die. Like they've sold one exclusive console, like one limited edition console, and it was that SpongeBob one. That's the only one that they sold, and I don't know why. Like all of these other ones would probably sell bonkers because they're
I mean,
scalpers. Like people love collecting. People would buy these just to collect them, whether they would use it or not. They would still collect them.
as the resident devil's advocate, there's a very good chance that you might make a lot more money by people trying to do the sweepstakes than you would by selling the actual.
Which is crazy because there's no purchase necessary
Mm,
for the
doesn't matter.
sweepstakes. He's got to retweet
Doesn't
them on
matter.
Twitter.
People won't spend $600 on a console, but they will spend $500 trying to win that console.
That'd be crazy because there's no reason to spend the money.
Welcome to the facts.
All right, that's all the Xbox news I got for you this week. Roger, what's going on in the PlayStation realm?
Oh, God, I wish not much. But let's talk about PlayStation. Destiny 2 has a new wave-based mode, Onslaught Salvation. That comes out on the 8th, or came out on the 8th. So, do you have a trailer to bring up for us here?
Yep, hopefully it should be playing this time
So,
around.
wave after waves of enemy forces advance, seemingly without end. Attacks arrive at every angle at once, and the lives of innocent Elixni captives hang in the balance. So the idea is you are going to be fighting off waves and waves of enemies while defending one of the key mission components in this game mode. It's certain not only that that you keep moving, but augmentation waves and bonus objectives will take player out of their comfort zones, and you'll be infiltrating the Revenant nest to free the captured Elixni. For one bonus objective, new shielded enemy units will appear, requiring guardians to use the special ether-like cannons to stop them. So there's just a lot going on here for this wave-based zombies game mode.
Yeah, the
Really.
horde mode, zombies,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it, what every game had for the
iconic.
longest.
Yeah.
I'm surprised
Just everyone's doing it now.
I'm surprised it took them this long to even add this. Like Destiny 2's been out for what, 8 years?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just think they're like slowly running out of ideas. Hence for why they're moving on to Marathon and moving away from Destiny here soon.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's cool. I mean, hopefully it's fun.
And they also got a lawsuit about some book, I guess. So,
Yeah.
there's that.
They're busy.
Next up, Until Dawn remake debuts with 28% less players than Concord had. Guys, if Sony could get awards for being the worst, they would literally have trophy cabinets filled with them. They would
Filled.
need an entire office complex to fill their trophy cabinet. Wow, that is just insane to me. But it's still 7 out of 10 based on Metacritic, I guess.
Yeah, I can't understand why they remade a game that nobody wants, but yet they are begging for a Bloodborne remake, a remaster, something like to play it at 4K, have 60 frames or even just 1080p 60 frames. It's mind-boggling. But to see it perform this bad is even crazier because we already know Concord is like the worst thing ever in gaming history.
Yeah. Pretty bad. Came out to a pretty bad opener.
Well, Concord's not done apparently.
Yeah. So Concord continues to get various Steam updates, and one of the most recent updates they pushed to Concord is they are adding a new so let's see here. It has less than 700 players currently, less than 25,000 copies, and they were attempting to add in, where is this game mode here? It was, what is it? What was it again now?
They were just adding like just random updates
Yeah.
like in the background because like you
Like
can't play this
they were
game.
gonna add one specific thing. I saw a thing, but the article we have doesn't mention it. They were going to literally add a game mode, and people were like, "Oh, I think it was offline play or bots play," and they were like, "Still wouldn't save your game here,
Yeah, it
guys."
still wouldn't. Yeah, but apparently, like the idea with these updates is like I guess they're trying to
Yeah.
retool it and make it. They're gonna end up bringing it back, but as a free to
Well,
play
they've
game.
wasted this much money on it.
Yeah, they're trying to salvage whatever they can.
Hmm.
So I'd be curious to see what it turns into be like. Turns out, like if it's free to play, cool. But like, is it even then? Is it really going to save it? No, like, but like you don't want to waste $400 million that you spent either.
Yep.
So you got to try and do something, and I'm sure it's going to have a cash
How
shop
do you?
then.
Yeah.
Like,
How do you salvage it? You don't.
yeah, don't just let it die. Just let
Like
it burn.
you failed, move on, learn your lesson, and they're like, nah, hold my beer.
All right. That's all the PlayStation news, but I'm ready to talk about the second biggest topic of the week, and that's with Nintendo. What is going on with Nintendo? And I'm not even talking about the news that you added as we were counting down the show, Scott. I'm talking about the one that was already there. It took the entire gaming industry by storm.
Dude, this is probably like the most excited I've been about a Nintendo news section in a while. Nintendo has announced the Alarmo. The Alarmo, at a pretty steep price for an alarm clock, at $100, is an interactive Nintendo alarm clock where you can actually pick from scenes and you can snooze and shut it off with just motion. So Alarmo is an interactive alarm clock designed to add some quote-unquote Nintendo charm to your home and your daily routine. So basically what you'll do right out of the box, all right, you'll be able to pick from 35 scenes inspired by 5 Nintendo titles. So they have Super Mario Odyssey, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Splatoon 3, Pikmin 4, and Ring Fit. So you pick your scene, you set your time, and you go to bed. The official blurb from Nintendo, and this is nothing short of like motivating me to like get an alarm clock and finally wake up in the morning. I'll probably snooze it once just to see, maybe 2 or 3 times, as we'll see later on here in this article. But dude, it's so fun. Like so, in the morning you'll experience immersive sounds and music from the scene you picked. So, rise to the sounds of the Mushroom Kingdom with Mario and friends, begin your day's adventure with Link and Princess Zelda, or start fresh with the Inklings from Splatoon 3. And those are just some of the experiences you can wake up to. As we said, there are about 5 games right now with 35 scenes, so they have a lot to offer on that. You can also check records to see how much you move around in your sleep. It sets an hourly chime themed on your chosen title, and you can change between steady or gentle modes for your morning alarm. In steady mode, the alarm will actually gradually get more intense the longer you stay in bed, whereas gentle mode offers a more consistent intensity level. There's also a button for a more traditional tactile, like hit the snooze button feel, but you can even choose sleepy sounds to wind down at the end of the day. So anybody who has an iPhone who has like a bedtime alarm, it's basically that same thing, except it's whatever you've picked. Before the alarm carried, so like to give a little bit more of like what it is, like I plan on waking up like a half hour early before it actually goes off just so I can watch it. So before the alarm, the actual like a character that you picked from your selected title comes up, and like they sit and they hang out on screen. When the alarm begins, you get some like your gentle sounds unique to whatever you've picked, and whatever you've kind of had for your scene. Then a visitor arrives after a few seconds. Someone or something, it says, from the scene you picked will appear. You can then wave your hand or move your body to make the alarm quieter.
Right.
Depending on the title you've chosen, you might hear coins.
Right. Someone was like
other-
stretching. It
or
was
other
like
game
ding,
sounds.
ding,
Yeah.
ding. I was like, oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah, it was nuts. But eventually, like, you know, as every alarm clock does, and this is no exception. If not, this is an even better version of that. The longer you go on, the more intense it's going to get. So it'll play again, until your visitor returns.
I would love to see
If
how
you stay in
intense it can
bed,
get.
yeah. Yes. Well, so apparently, if you stay in bed too long, your alarm will get more intense, and you'll get a visit from someone, quote unquote, more persuasive.
Hmm.
Nintendo warned. They said, yes, it's Bowser. Bowser's going to show up. When you get all the way out of bed, however, the alarm stops, and then you get your victory fanfare, which is like even better, right? Like you don't, who doesn't want to get out of bed and just like like it's gonna be it's great. Is it $100 great? Not right now. Maybe
No.
early next year. But dude, it just sounds so awesome. Like this is one of those chances you get to like finally like you get Nintendo in your life.
Yeah.
Like you really really do. For fans of any of the franchises listed for their original settings, like this is dude, this is super fun. This is just a genuine fun thing to come out of Nintendo. And it might hold us off from the Switch for a little bit. But it is worth noting that this is only compatible with twin to king size beds. So the only beds available, twin to king size beds.
Once you
Anywhere
got that
between those.
California King, you're living life.
Yes. I will never have a California King because I'm not that tall, honestly. But it does say, to have it work perfectly, you do have to have it facing the center of your bed. It's got to be no more than 8 inches above. And there's actually a lot of questions going on about whether or not this like tracks and gives information
Right.
to anywhere else. Because I know we'd spoken where it's like, hey, it can tell you how well you slept. It can tell you how much you moved. So it does track you a little bit. But Nintendo did say they do not communicate any of that information that they get.
Right.
This is all
Hopefully it's
in the
encrypted
system.
on
and that
on the
is it.
on device, yeah, because it's also
Yeah.
connected to the internet, so we can add like new updates to it, like new themes that they're going to be adding at a later time. Like they on that trailer showcase, like they're adding like Mario Kart and Animal Crossing as well.
Yes. So they're going to be adding a bunch of. I mean, it's going to be DLC for your alarm clock, and I'm kind of excited for it. Not gonna
The world
lie.
that we live in. Roger, what's your
Hey,
thoughts on Alarmo? You
this
getting it?
is
Are you picking this
this
up?
is the
I
future.
got
The
a
future
phone
is now.
I got a phone alarm clock. I'm fine.
He's not ready to spice it up with Bowser yet.
Nah, it'll wake Jordan up too much.
I can say the only reason I wouldn't get this is because Alice is still in her bassinet next to us. But man, when she goes in that crib,
That's it. It's over.
it's gonna be fantastic.
All right, Scott. What's
What
the
a good time.
last thing here for Nintendo?
A little bit less happy news coming out of here. Game Freak, the developer for Pokemon, appears to have been hit with a significant hack. So as a result, source code for various games and behind-the-scenes information has started to leak online. From Nintendo, everything.com, they said, thus far we know that source code for Pokemon Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Black 2, and White 2 have surfaced. A few codenames are also popping up, including Gaia, which is apparently what Gen 10 is going to be named internally. And speaking of which, the new gen is apparently being developed for Ounce, which is supposedly a confirmation of the Switch 2's codename. And for those curious, Ikaku is the codename for Legends Z through A. So just some not happy things coming out of Game Freak. Probably nothing they could have done, to be honest, because
Just
who
some more
just goes
people that
through and says,
Nintendo can go sue.
yeah, yep, just more. Yeah, it's more money for the Nintendo machine, honestly, at this point.
Ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
It's the
Is-
coin. It's
But
the
I
coin
think your
noise
alarm
from the
clock's going
alarms.
off.
It's the Alarmo noise. Coin noise. Ding 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 ding. That's it. That's all it
great.
is. But yeah, so I wanted to throw that in there in case anybody here is very very invested in Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Black 2, and White 2.
Yeah, I would love to get Heart Gold and Soul Silver, like the physical copy, as opposed to playing the emulation on my phone. Because it's like $150, $160 if you want to buy it right now. It's just impossible. All right, that's all the Nintendo news. So let's go ahead and move on to a bunch of different updates to like some of the games and companies. But Alien Isolation, a game that came out 10 years ago, they did announce that the sequel is actually in the works, and it's supposed to be coming out, I think, next year or the year after that. But they did announce this on the original Isolation's original release date, which was last week, I think it was. But pretty awesome to see there, because like the Alien franchise, I think, is doing really well, especially with the Romulus movie doing what it did. It did big numbers in the box office. So I've never played Alien Isolation. Have either of you guys ever played it?
I'm trying to think here. No, I don't think I have.
Well, maybe we have a reason to check it out before the sequel drops. But nonetheless, Roger, what's going on in the other horror realm of video games?
Yeah, all right. So let's talk about A Quiet Place. So they've announced their game, A Quiet Place: The Road Ahead, and the game will feature an optional microphone input functionality where the game will listen to your microphone. So that's cool, I guess.
And that game comes out this week, actually, on the 17th. But it's pretty cool because like it kind of like blends the world because like in the movies and stuff like that, the objective is to be quiet. Otherwise, the monsters will hear you and come kill you.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of breaches that fourth wall. It makes it a little bit more immersive, you know. Like another game that you play at about noon to about 2 p.m. and that's about it.
I can't wait to get
Yeah.
absolutely ripped to shreds because I farted. And it's gonna be just like mid game, just rip ass, and then just you've died. I'm like,
You're
like,
playing
"Ah."
you're playing a game and like Alice wakes up and starts crying and gets you killed. You're
She starts crying, just gets me killed, and then now I'm upset and frustrated. Yeah, come on now.
Holy shit. Feels the feels, my friend.
All right, Scout. You get to talk about some exciting news out of Rockstar.
I do, yes. So Red Dead Redemption is actually finally coming to PC on October 29th. And not only that, it's Undead Nightmare is also coming there. So we're looking for an October 29th release date for those to come here. It's going to have native 4K resolution supported up to 144 hertz, ultra and super ultra wide monitor support, mouse and keyboard support. Duh. And upscaling technology support for NVIDIA DLSS 3.7 and AMD FSR 3.0 and NVIDIA DLSS frame generation. Exciting.
I'm just really curious. Maybe you guys may know the answer to this question, but this game released in 2010, so why 14 years later is it finally coming to PC?
Well, I would have to say, first off, demand didn't really exist for this game for PC until maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yeah, they brought Red
Right.
Dead Redemption 2 to the PC
Yeah.
and they were like, it's
Maybe
doing
we should
pretty
get the
well.
first one.
So
Yeah.
yeah, now we'll reach back. We've got some extra resources. People are suckers for nostalgia,
Yeah.
Vic
And
will
it-
tell you that.
100%.
And they're charging
100%. So, like,
$50 for this port, the PC port. Is that a
well,
reasonable
I mean, that's
price?
fine. That I feel that's reasonable for the things they've done to bring it to PC. I think it is. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, but with what Roger said, the reach back and bringing it up for nostalgia, yeah.
All right. Actually, crazy thing, I never played Red Dead 1 or 2. I own one, never played it.
A very good game. It's honestly genuinely one of my favorite stories in like a serious game like that.
Mm-hmm.
It
It seemed pretty good.
it
Actually, I
truly
played the
felt
beginning part
awesome.
of the game. My bad. I played the beginning of Red Dead 1 and then to stop
It's
because I
very
realized
good.
how long it was going to be. That's like my biggest issue is like when I get into games and I realize how long of a game it's going to be and I don't have that kind of time to invest in a game. It kind of like was a big turnoff. But now moving forward, that's no longer going to be an issue. All right, guys. Next topic here. Actually, this was the one that we were kind of anticipating when and who this announcement was coming because obviously we know the FIFA license was taken away from EA. EA and FIFA couldn't come to a new agreement to develop their game, but FIFA has found a new home, and that is with Konami. And most people were like, "Whoa!" Of all people, like I was really thinking maybe 2K was going to get it,
Mhm.
but to see the Konami get it because they have already their football game or PES, but this one they're going to be rebranding the game to FIFA E World Cup Esports Tournament. Terrible fucking name if you ask me, but you get the
It's
fucking
not great.
yeah you get.
It's not great.
I mean, it was as simple as FIFA 24. Like it was just that easy. Like now we got to have this very convoluted game, but I guess they don't want to call it like FIFA like that because it would be really confusing. I guess because you're like, wait a minute, FIFA 14 was
Oh
made by
my
EA.
god, my brain can't comprehend it.
But yeah.
Ours can. People that play FIFA, maybe not.
My man, they still wonder what the window tastes like.
I'm trying to see. if they're because like FIFA still has like a partnership with EA in their EA Sports FC to bring like some of the stuff to them, but yeah, the exclusivity will be going to Konami moving forward. There's no update on like when the first game we're going to see. They just finally signed this deal, so obviously they've got to make that transition. I don't think it's going to be that long because like the game it's technically made. They just like keep remaking it, but then they're just gonna rebrand it to FIFA, blah 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 blah, and kind
Blah
of go
blah
from
blah
there.
blah blah. That's my favorite FIFA game.
But yeah, nonetheless, cool to see that FIFA is finally returning to the video game realm. But last but not least, we got one last topic here, Scott. Round us off here, man.
Yes, we do. So I'm happy to have some of the exciting news tonight. So with the Alarmo and now this Asper is remastering Star Wars Episode 1 Jedi Power Battles.
Fuck yeah.
And this is an old game if
I
anybody
have
remembers
it
this.
on PS1.
If
It's on my
anybody's
shelf.
played this on the I was gonna say on the original PlayStation, this game was so fun.
Yeah.
And so they're working on remastering that. Their release date is going to be January 23rd, 2025, and this is going to be for PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and Steam. I do believe Vic is pulling up the trailer if he has not already.
Yep.
But man, this was like a good old fashioned like it was a mix of like jumping, beat 'em up sort of deal. Like it was fun. It was fun for the time. I'm anxious to see kind of how if they adjust gameplay, what they do with it. And it's just gonna be it seems fun. It's like very like arcadey, it's very jump, beat 'em up, like that's really it. There's not much more
Yeah.
to say about it. other
I'm
than
excited
that.
because like when I bought it for the PS1 again, I was trying to play it. I was like, man, this plays so clunky with the controller because it didn't have like it didn't have joysticks at the time on the PS1 until a little bit
Mhm.
later. And even then, like the buttons just don't feel right. But now with them remastering the controls and stuff like that, and they're adding like all the new content, like new playable characters and whatnot, I'm like, I'm definitely getting this. Like kicking off 2025 with a simple arcade game like that, it's gonna be great.
Now, if we can get an old Jedi Academy remake, that'll be right up there. I'll
I
buy
actually
a
wouldn't be
PlayStation
surprised.
for
Like
that one.
Asper's been remaking basically all of the classic Star Wars games and bringing them to the modern days.
That's because they care. They're doing their best for the community.
They're trying. They're
They're
trying.
trying. They're trying real hard.
All right, gentlemen, that is all the news that we got for everybody this week. Any last comments before we close out this week's episode? No.
Get the
All right.
Alarmo.
Not this week.
Get the
Get the
Alarmo.
Alarmo.
Hit the
The Alarmo's
Alarmo.
gonna be great. The Alarmo's gonna be amazing.
All right.
Don't hit the alarm on the games coming out this week, boys.
Ooh, oh man, the pun. I love it. I'm here for it.
But yeah, nonetheless, we do want to thank everyone who came through and checked us out live here on Twitch, and anyone who does check us out later on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. But Roger, where can the community find you at?
You can find me here on the podcast. You can find me on Discord, and that's about all I'll be around on.
I hear you. What about you, Scott?
You can find me here on Sundays unless I have something better to do. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding, guys. Just
That
kidding.
man's life is boring if he's here.
It's cool. I was by myself last week on the show.
If you can't find me here, you can always find me on Discord, Scubby1. I'm always hanging out in somebody's channel or my own, just playing some games. But other than that, you can always reach out to me on Instagram, Scubby1, the same name as well. Just kind of see what I'm up to, see why I'm not there on a Sunday, and just kind of take a little peek into my personal life with my beautiful baby girl.
Oh yeah. And everyone, you can check me out at Twitter at Mr. Never Chillin'. _ Threads is Mr. Never Chillin'. Xbox is X Never Space Chillin'. If you want a game, party up, hit me up there. Facebook is Vic Brubacher for any questions, concerns, or even if you want to come on the show, slide in the DMs there. And I do stream over on my Twitch at twitch.tv / Mr. Never Chillin', where I'm currently streaming Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2, along with fuck, what's the other game? I'm drawing a blank on it right now. Thirsty Suitors.
Thirsty Suitors.
Thirsty Studio, because I'm like, what the fuck is it? Was actually a game that I
I was
completely
gonna get to
skipped.
it.
I never even talked about it at the beginning, but yeah, that's another game that I'm playing through. I'm almost done with it. This game I was supposed to play and beat in November, but I decided to play it early because I was like, what do I play? I have nothing to play until Black Ops 6 comes out. But yeah,
Black
nonetheless,
Hawk 6.
that is everything that I be
Six
playing right
Black
now.
Ops.
But we do want to appreciate everyone, and until next week, peace.
See ya.
Press start podcast.